Miss
9
Lady?
minutes and 30 seconds.
Ooh, cool. All right, let's do this.
Live from the Connections Studio Suites, it's Connections. Connections is relationship radio.
Well, hello, people. How we doing? Good to have you along with us tonight. We've got a special guest. First, let me introduce myself for those of you that don't know. I am Melissa Fox with 2 X's. Please respect the second X. Very, very important. Oh, our next guest is already in the booth there. That's hashtag Lizzie said what?
That's
with
me,
the
boy.
Connection sign behind her. And our special guest, and looks like our second guest is also joining along just to listen in. I always like that. It's like a preview interview. Our guest tonight, though, is a wonderful author. Actually got a really cool book out there, and it is called A Guide, A Parenting Revolution for a Higher Evolution. So it's kind of like, you remember that old book, was it Rainbow? One of those, I don't know, something old, something, Lawrence maybe. Something about putting your ambitions on your children, and it just continues and continues and continues. This is what I feel like Julie Phillips Hatch has for us. Julie Hatch, welcome to Connections.
Thank you very much, Melissa. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have you along. So is this like the antithesis of D.H. Lawrence, really, the rainbow? I think that's where I was going, somewhere there.
I wish I could say that I knew that piece of work. I don't, but it sounds like probably it is the antithesis.
Lizzie, get in there. Google
Yes,
search.
Got it.
I will.
On it. Okay. All right. So
I will. Let me grab my phone.
Oh, don't you? No.
Yeah, it's if he was talking about parents projecting onto them and having them living their lives through their kids, then yes, this is the antithesis to that. Very much
Perfect.
so.
Yes, that was exact. It's an old book from the 1800s. Nobody read it. Don't worry.
Julie, can you explain what that means by projecting that onto your children?
Yeah, a lot of parents say, well, I wanted to do this, so I want if they didn't get to do it, they want, as in go to college, become a lawyer, become a doctor, succeed, whatever it is. Well, if I wasn't able to do it, which is often comes from wounds and problems with their childhood, well, then my kid's going to do it, and I'm going to make my kid do it, which is the wrong thing. If the child wants to do it on their own, that's different. But if their parent says, this is what I want for you, and this is what you're going to be, then that's not good.
Okay, that makes sense. So the book is a guide for parenting children by strengthening their natural gifts, not your, and I love how you kind of sugarcoat it, not your well-intended vision for them.
That was a soft
Yep.
quote.
It really is. It's like, here's a piece of bread, here's another piece of bread.
It's true, though. Parents want the best for their kids, and they believe that they're doing for the best for their kids, and they are in many ways. But sometimes you just got to take a step back and look to see what really the child wants and is meant to do, and not so much what the parent thinks that they should, wants them to do, expects them to do, all kinds of things.
So Julie Phillips Hatch is here, and she says there's another way to raise your kids. Don't just drop all your expectations. So you got good grades, so they should get good grades, or you didn't get good grades, so they should. Yeah, that old, nobody in our family went to college, so it's all on you. That's kind of a heck of an expectation to pin on a kid.
That's huge.
And I hear that all the time. How do you react to that?
Yeah, we do absolutely pin our expectations, and we can't. We got to drop the ego, which we just have to drop our ego and say, okay, it's more about the child than it is about me. It's not all about the child, but it's a lot more about the child than I think most parents think at this point. It's not about the parent, it's about the kid.
Fair enough, but you don't want to over coddle them, though. Every whim. I want to play drums next week. I want to do this. I want to eat crayons. You can't overindulge them. So how do you find or hone in on their natural gifts?
You're right. Well, they certainly do need boundaries, and they can't have everything that they want. But there are certain things that every child needs, and it's up to us parents to provide what they need. And so I go into it in my book, which comes from my work as an acupuncturist in Taoism and traditional Chinese medicine, that every child, all of us, is part of one of 5 element types. And once you find out what the element type is, it talks about what are the strengths and the natural inclinations. And it's really what their inner spirit is, what drives them, enlivens them, what motivates them. There's just, you find out the element type and you learn so much about your kid. And it also tells you about what stresses them, what freaks them out, what makes them, misbehave and cry and carry on. And so it tells you a whole lot about your child's personality and where they're coming from in here.
That's a lot.
Lizzie's shaking her head.
I'm like, just beat them and get it over with,
Stop.
and then it'll be fine.
Stop it. Yes.
I mean, that's what happened with me.
No, that is not the way.
And how'd that work?
Actually, pretty. I don't know. Okay.
We're talking with author Julie Hatch, and she's written a book about parenting. So I'm going to ask, you have kids, right?
I've got 3 kids. They're grown boys, age 30, 28, and 26.
All boys, huh?
What?
How was that?
Was it easier or harder? I mean, everyone's always like the girls are harder, but I got a suspicion.
No, I think that, for one thing, boys adore their mothers. Mm-hmm. And I asked my kids early on, I said, please graduate from, I think I said college. Please don't make me a grandmother before my time or before you want. And please don't go to jail.
There you go.
And they all graduated college, and I'm not a grandmother. They all went to jail. So 2 out of 3 is not bad.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome.
Okay.
They didn't go to jail. They got arrested.
Well, yeah. There's only a few people I know that try not to do that. You know what I mean? So, a parenting revolution for higher evolution, raising resilient, responsible, compassionate kids from the inside out. That is a mouthful, but that is a title. You're going to see that all over the place. People, anyone who already has kids, or if you're thinking about becoming a parent, seriously, pick this thing up, because the future is your children. All right? I'm talking to you.
That's
you
true.
know who I'm talking. No, it's seriously. So, Julie, what made you decide to put all this down in words and pictures and paper? I mean, seriously, why a book and why now?
I guess from what I've seen, I've worked with kids. I've been a pediatric nurse practitioner, a mother, and now an acupuncturist. And I've seen kids and parents, and my biggest passion is kids, and kids need, I think, a lot more than what they're getting. And again, it's not what they want, it's what they need. And I'm trying to help parents to understand what their child needs and it's a lot about mindfulness and consciousness and the higher evolution, not just buying them the toys that they want or letting them, no boundaries and that kind of thing. That's not what they need. So I talk about what they need. And most of the book comes from a little bit my experience as a nurse practitioner in Western medicine, but more so Eastern medicine. My work as an acupuncturist, and acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine comes from Taoism, which is related to Buddhism. So it's all about compassion and gratitude, and it's all feel good kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's actually an easier way to raise your kids rather than trying to force them to do what you want them to do. Because when you force and they say no, it's resistance coming up against each other, and it doesn't work. So it's nicer to figure out what works for the child, what does the child need, and go from there. It's you got to read this book with an open mind. It's not about how to make your child go to bed at night, or how to make your child a smarter child. It's not a how-to. It's more of an open mind, consciousness, how to make the world a better place through our kids, which are the future.
As parents, I would say.
As parents,
leader.
yes. It's up to us.
Yeah, it's kind
parents.
of our role, I think, as parents. So we got to take a quick break here. We are talking with Julie Phillips Hatch. She's the author who's going to tell you how to raise your kids better by not pinning all your expectations, the things that you wanted to do but failed at. Yeah, not a good idea. We'll be right back. It's Connections, more with the author, and with Lizzie too. She'll be here. Stay tuned. It's Connections.
Connections is Relationship Radio.
Well, this is fun.
Well, thank you. We try to make it fun. All right, stand by. Here we go.
You're listening to Connections.
Get ready, I think I hear something.
Man, I wish I was deaf.
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
Certainly not for operating an illegal pirate radio station.
That would never happen. Welcome back to Connections. Melissa Fox, hashtag Lizzie Said What, and our special guest this half, Julie Phillips Hatch. She's an author. Okay, somebody already wants to know where that accent's coming from. What is going on there? Julie.
My accent or your accent?
No, your accent. I know my accent's a New England accent. There's no
I
doubt.
live in Massachusetts.
What?
South coast of Massachusetts.
Wait, what? Lizzie, you calling shenanigans?
I'm calling shenanigans. I'm a part New Englander, so it's not one of the accents that you normally
Come
hear.
on now. Come
It's
on.
not. It's not a Boston accent. We pack and have it. Yeah, that's not how I'm talking.
Actually, can't do.
No,
but
she
I
didn't
love
do that. So you tried to do a New England accent. Where
was
are
good.
you originally from?
Outside of Boston, really. I was
Really?
born in New York, but I didn't start speaking until I was in Massachusetts, outside of Boston.
Fun.
So yeah, that's where I
She's-
spent
she's
most of my time.
Wow. Okay, so she
love
tried
it.
really hard to lose the accent. See, I'm in. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm in radio, and they made me sort of lose my accent for like the first 2 decades of my career, and then all of a sudden one day they went, "Hey, it's okay now to have an accent." I really at this part in my career, really. Now you tell me. All right, let me go get some coffee because I can't. We'll sort it out later.
Good stuff.
But I'm from Nantucket Island, myself, born and raised. And Lizzie's more of a maniac, although you do spend some time in Massachusetts.
Yes, I do. Boston. Go see the Reds. Boston. Go see the Red Sox.
Yep.
Boston.
Boston. Boston.
Maine's
where
a
I'm from.
beautiful place.
Maine.
Nantucket's a beautiful place.
Yep.
Nice.
I called her out. She's like, no, born and pretty much did that. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah. Welcome back to Connections. It is kind of funny.
She's got good stuff, and she has an amazing book
Uh-huh.
on how not to control your kids and screw their lives up by making them the little mini yous that you wish you could have been. Is that what the title is?
Yeah, no, it's not. You should not raise
That's
many
a great
me's.
title.
You're welcome.
That actually is.
Yep.
Julie Hatch is with us. Okay, here's the deal. The book's called A Parenting Revolution for Higher Evolution. Tell me, where are we going? I mean, that's pretty heady. Evolution? A higher evolution? Really? Darwin? No?
Yeah.
Eastern?
Well, so look at where we are now. Where are we with technology, artificial intelligence,
Millennials?
social media, phones? Where are kids now? They are not headed in the right direction. And anxiety and depression in our kids is going way, 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 way up. We're not going in the right direction. So we need to evolve in a different way, I do believe, because something we're doing isn't working.
Giving them trophies. That's what
Trophies?
Trophies is
Okay.
bad.
All right, time out. Participation trophies. Everybody gets a T-shirt.
Yes.
All of that, okay, not a reality in the real world. I'm sorry, but not everybody is fair. Not everybody wins. And not everybody
Right.
is good at everything.
Okay,
know your part.
Wait, but I gotta say
What?
something,
Oh,
Melissa.
just do
This
it.
is correct for the past, but if you pay attention now, they actually have counselors and they have people to rub your back at school whenever you can't handle
I'm sorry,
your
I'm triggered.
situation.
I'm triggered.
See,
I'm gonna have
there
to
you
leave.
go. That's the new norm.
What's wrong? Yeah, what is wrong with that picture? A lot is wrong with that.
I just got triggered.
Right.
I hate that. All of that is wrong. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Why are we having little rooms where they can have a timeout so they can feel better? And I'm talking college kids here at
That's
this
the
point.
I know.
Come on,
Absolutely.
handle your
The kids are
stuff.
showing up at colleges and in real life. Just so they're not prepared at all. They have no backbone. They're just
You
because they're
spineless
coddled,
pieces
they're
of blub.
overprotected. Their
Yeah.
parents clear the path for them. The parents do their homework for them. If they're over, so when I talk about meeting what the kids needs, that is not what they need. Overprotection and coddling. And yeah, they don't know how to deal with real life. It's ridiculous. They expect mommy and daddy to get them their first job or, just show up at work and you're going to get a raise rather than actually do some work.
Oh God, yeah, I'm dealing with a couple of millennials that work here, and it's bad. It's like, well, yeah,
I don't really feel like coming to work today. And I'm like, What?
That's
a thing?
I mean, it's only for a couple of hours, right? So I guess it's really not worth it.
But next week, don't expect me because I got something else that I got to do. Like, I don't know, brush my hair.
I
don't
have
know.
never. So, and this is the older. You guys have already done this. This might be too late. And if these kids start procreating, we're in trouble.
Now, Julie, would you say that those type of things, is that something that we're passing on to our kids, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that everything comes down to, well, the society around them, but it starts with the parents. Certainly school influences it and other influential people, but it starts with the parents. And I'm getting harsher and harsher about this. I used to try to be gentle with parents. I'm like, no, it is all us. It is all the parents.
Yeah.
Okay, so Julie, you know that now you know that we are New Englanders, or she's a part-timer. I'm born and raised. But we're in the state of Florida. And Florida's done some really kooky things in the public education system as of late. Liz, you want to explain a couple of things?
Let's see, that progressive math or whatever. That's not actually like it takes you. You have to take you 5 hours to do one problem. I'm like
Common Core math. They've rejected some math, like 54 different books, because they say it's got this CRT in it, which is
What's that?
Critical race theory.
Yes, and then it's included in the math.
Yeah.
But it's in the math.
Julie, it's in the math. Like they ask you the math question,
of course,
and then give you a scenario of
but
life.
It's the scenario that they're, it's like Bobby and Joey have no money. They're poor and live on this side of town. How much does it cost for them to get, I'm like, why? Why do we need this whole story? Can't we just do this math problem without having to assign?
Oh my God!
Right,
that's crazy.
It's become picayune. But earlier, and it was twisted to be called the "Don't Say Gay" bill, which really wasn't what it was. It was more about not teaching sexuality or broaching sexuality in the ages kindergarten to third grade.
Yes,
not even 8 years old, I think. And, of course, that just doesn't make any sense. My concern, though, was that once you open the door and you say you can't talk about it, then they move it up further, and then we've coddled again.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all those crazy things that Florida's doing to our children in the public system?
In the public school system. Well, that gets kind of political. And
she's like, I will bow out
of
that.
I think that, well, for one thing, I think that every child is different, and it should be up to the parent to decide what a child can handle. A kindergartner can maybe not handle the same thing as a third grader, depending on the child, or the other way around. So it depends very much on the kid. But I think that it's just like the drug thing of just say no. That's ridiculous.
Well, right.
And, that's just teaches ignorance, personally, I kind of think. And I think that really depends on the child's developmental level, not their age, but the developmental level, and how you broach the subject. In a whole school setting where you're dealing with hundreds of kids, it's not quite so easy. But to just blanket this critical race,
exactly, it's just silliness. It's like, could you just teach the children? And again, now since you and I are from up north, I've always believed, and I still do, that the school system is a lot better even up there in the public school system than it is down here. And then they make it even worse. The whole idea, though, of this interview with Miss Julie Hatch is about a parenting revolution for higher evolution, raising resilient, responsible, compassionate kids from the inside out. It's a guide for parenting children by strengthening their natural gifts and not your well-intended vision for them. Wow, that's a lot.
Julie, where can they find your book?
Where can we get it?
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon, and it's available at Barnes & Noble online. And it's also available on my website, which is juliephillipshatch.com. So all three of those places you can find the book.
And that's Phillips with 2 L's and 2 P's.
Yes.
And 2 I's, actually. It's kind of
wow, you like me. You like all your consonants and all your vowels.
Give me all of them. Julie Phillips Hatch, thank you for joining us today on the on the Connections show. I almost said the wrong show. I do a lot of shows. You know that, right? Okay. Hey, we had a lot of fun. Thank you so much, and we love your accent.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming on the show. It's Connections. We'll be right back.
Connections is Relationship Radio.
Cool.
All right, Julie. Thank you so much.
You.
That was really good.
Thanks, you
Yes.
guys. You're fun. You're a ton of fun.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So shall I sign out now? Thank
wanna
you
just
very much.
leave?
I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, shit, I'm
That was
mad at
good.
it.
That was good stuff.
She
was a good interview.
Yeah, she was fun. Okay, so we should have another guest coming on here, and they did check in earlier, and they're probably freaking out. No, Nancy Wiley, but it was
There you
supposed to. Yeah, we'll see if she's around or not. Let me check my email real quick, just see. Hey, somebody
make
else
sure.
was on.
Like, I don't understand.
Why? Snail mail. What? Just now.
Just now.
Now, 9:15. Okay, it's 9:19. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on the Connection Show here. Brr, 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 brr. All right, looks like we may have lost her. Come back, Dr. Wiley. Please come back. We're waiting. Hold on, let me do that. So anyway, yeah, good time. She was fun.
Yes. Yes. Her book seems extremely interesting.
Actually, yeah.
It really does. It doesn't seem like I was worried there for a second, because whenever you see that title about how, make kids great again, saying not that, but don't try to get your kids to do what you wish you could have done.
Exactly. Come on.
And that was really good. So
Felicia, where are you? All right, let me do this. Waiting.
Hello.
Hey, there she is.
Sorry about that. I love your
you're
show,
fine.
and I didn't want to crash on her.
That was so fun.
Her book, but I was hoping just to wait in the wings.
I
and
couldn't
able to
reach
listen
it.
to you guys, because you're so fun, and
Aw,
I just
thank
enjoy
you.
you.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's get our stuff together here.
Miss Nancy, is that like a background, or is that your actual real live background? Because that
No,
is
my
so
room-
nice.
My office is a mess, and when it gets dark, you can see everything. So I'm like, that's not going to work.
When you first logged on, I was like, wow,
I
she
know.
has such a nice looking
Check out
house.
that room. Where'd she get that rug? All right, stand by. Let's come back for segment number 3. Okay, here we go. Bum, 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 bum. And
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's time to come back from commercial.
yep, I think it's time.
Is it?
Yeah, you know it's time
Oh, boy, that hurt.
to come back from commercial.
It's hard to get up there sometimes. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm not telling you what you
Yeah, I
don't know.
said it's time to get back in your chair. Coming back from commercial.
That's me on the Gitbox, though. Linda Nunez Productions bringing us back from commercial.
He's so good.
She is good. Check out LindaNunezMusic.com. I believe she's performing around the Orlando area here and there. I am Melissa Fox, 2 X's. Hashtag Lizzie said what? Just drop hashtag Lizzie said what somewhere into your social media.
Make sure you have all your blockers turned off.
Right. Is that what is it? NSFW.
Not
That's
safe
what
for
it-
work, boy.
Not suitable for work, but this is. Welcome back to Connections. We've got a great guest with us now, Dr. Nancy Wiley. Now, you used to be, didn't you do like the teeth thing? Were you something like?
Yes.
You were
Orthodontist.
orthodontist.
Yes.
Ooh.
So tell us, Dr. Nancy Wiley, how you found your way to writing this book, Divine Trust, a practical guide to ending suffering and find your way home. How did you get there?
Well, it's kind of a very, I'm going to do it in 2 minutes or less.
You can do better.
I was an orthodontist on the Parkland Coral Springs border. And I was working on February 14th, 2018, when a mom exclaimed, "Oh my God, there's an active shooter at Douglas." We all went, and then instantly we heard sirens, and we couldn't work anymore that day. We knew something was going on. We just didn't know how devastating it was. And when all the dust was settled, we lost a patient that day, and one of my my records technicians lost her sister.
Oh gosh.
And not only that, but everyone, it was a ghost town for about 6 weeks. No one came in. And Marjorie Stoneman Douglas was my #1 feeder school. But we were all in shock. And when they did, the kids started coming back in, they had this look on their face. It can only be post-traumatic stress.
Right.
Like they looked like somewhere they were gone. There was some vacancy there. And I could just only imagine, and I heard stories from the kids, and well, you can only imagine how traumatized they were. But besides my 6 advanced degrees, I also have been pursuing the pathway, a spiritual pathway.
Oh, wow.
And I've been meditating for over 4 decades, so over 43 years. And somewhere along the line, I made a commitment to become enlightened in this physical lifetime. So I've been studying, and that's all my non-waking hours of not working on patients. I was pursuing the enlightenment path and studying thousands of teachers and reading thousands of books. And somehow I got with a wonderful teacher who actually honed that all down. And then I feel I got to a level where I no longer suffered.
Oh.
So after the shootings and after all of that, about 5 days into it, I was like, I got to get a hold of myself. I am really like suffering. So I went into like a 2-hour meditation, and I asked, why did this happen? And then I got answers back. And then I realized, well, I'm no longer suffering, especially knowing the answers that came back. So as time went on, I saw all of these kids suffering, and my back started having issues, severe issues. So I made a decision to sell my practice, and that was in 2020. And 4 days after leaving the practice, I went into a spiritual retreat and asking, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have no physical means of financial support. So what's my next step? And boy, did I get it. I got in a meditation 4 days in a row. Here's what you embody trust.
Right.
You are going to teach these kids, not only these kids, but the whole world. And I fought with it. I'm a scientist. I don't like to write. And on the 4th day, I finally said, okay, I'm open to what you have to say to me and what the guidance is. So I wrote a book. It wrote itself in 5 days. It's very short and concise, very, very powerful. And that's what I'm supposed to teach. And I will be teaching the kids there for free. I'm renting a room in Parkland Amphitheater, and I will be teaching anyone who wants to learn these truths so they no longer suffer as well.
All right, so now I have a list of pre-designated questions, which we never, ever, ever use.
Don't use them.
Oh, no.
Don't use them.
No.
Like this. This to me, this back and forth is what I'm here to do.
Okay, I just want to warn you, because earlier this week on another show, I was given a list of questions to ask, and albeit it was for testicular cancer, I asked the questions as they were written, and they didn't apply to me at all.
Okay, no, we want it to apply to everybody.
Okay.
The book is written for everybody, and I'm just the vehicle and the voice to give it its,
all right.
its
well,
voice.
let's give it some life and breathe it into the Connection Show by first of all having you define divine trust.
Okay, that's a great place to start.
Okay.
But trust, it's the realization or faith in something, the strength of it, that it's always going to be there. It's a belief. And in this case, it's the belief or the knowledge or the absolute knowingness that something is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that. So that
God,
it's like the
God, source, universe,
higher power,
whatever name you want to give
higher
it.
power. Okay. All right. And anyone can feel this trust, right?
Anyone.
Okay. What's the easiest way to feel the trust.
You don't have to go by the question.
No.
I like it to be spontaneous. But the easiest way is you got to get into the present moment. You have to open your heart. You have to be willing to try something new. So the way we work right now, most human beings, I would say 95% of us, is using our mind. And our mind is a divine tool, but not to be the sole navigation through life. We're supposed to be navigating through this consciousness, this connection to this higher power, but we're not trained to do it. We have to be shown how to do it, I believe. And then it's innate. And then once you see it, you're like, oh, this is so great. This is life on steroids.
Right.
This is magical. This is mystical.
We're talking with Dr. Nancy Wiley. Her book is Divine Trust. Divine Trust. The reason I keep saying it that way is because I have trouble between define and divine. And I want to make sure you know it's divine, like divinity. I do like this question, though, Dr. Wiley. I'm going to ask it right off the paper. Hold on.
Got it, too.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Where'd it go? Wait. Oh, can you explain the purpose of my life, our lives?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
What?
She said she can. I'm going to let her do it.
Sure I can. So in the book, and it's the first 2 chapters. The book is so short and concise, but it basically says each one of us is here. We're actually a divine expression, and we're supposed to take a body, get amnesia, forget who we are, and then have these wake up moments. I call them snap back moments where you realize, oh my God, I'm more than just a body and a personality. I'm divine. And then you start to wake up and you look around more and you see things, and it makes so much more sense. Wow. So the whole point of life is to take like I like to say we're like a wave in the ocean, where you take on this personality, we take on a body or a wave, and then you express yourself, but you're always part of the ocean. So we're part of this divine essence, and we're here to realize how divine, how miraculous, how completely super powers we have. So we are literally like those superpower characters you see on the Avengers, and
Hey, hold that super thought. Hold that super thought. We got to take a break here, pay the bills, thank our sponsors, and all that happy stuff. We are talking with Dr. Nancy Wiley. She's now an author, and she's got a book out called Divine Trust. And I believe that we will be right back. Stay right there. It's Connection Show, relationship radio with a twist.
Connections is relationship radio.
Great. Like, what happens when you have that devastating breakup?
Ah, really?
Something like that. How does that play into it?
All right, hang on.
That's a great one.
All right, hang on a sec. Let's get her. I got to rejoin here. Here we go. And
this is the test. We'll be conducting a test for the emergency broadcasting. Remember, this is only a test.
This is an amazing set of highballs.
It is.
It's Connections.
Wow, welcome back.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome back to Connection Show. We are talking with Dr. Nancy Wiley, Melissa Fox, hashtag Lizzie Said What. You got some questions over there. You got that look. Go on.
Gosh. It seems, okay, so I do have divine trust. But me trying to explain it to people about how you shouldn't worry, like I had a big health scare the last 3 weeks, but I wasn't worried. And I literally was trusting God. I know He has a plan for all of us. And me being worried for 3 weeks would have been a waste of time while you're alive here on this earth. And I mean, yeah, it took me till I was almost 40 before I figured that out. But it's, how do you really explain to somebody that, look, you just got to stop, breathe, and just believe that this is going to be okay? Because I've got people blowing up my Instagram after I posted what I was going through, and I'm like, I just trust God. I don't know how to explain it. I just got to trust God.
Quick sidebar. More importantly, how do you come off as not sounding like you don't care or apathetic when you're a friend like me who is like, God's got this?
Yeah.
So we didn't shed a tear. She told me what, and I was like, It is what it is.
How
do we do that?
Don't you think it's by example? Like, people need to see how you're living. And I mean, don't they say to you, Lizzie, that, wow, how can you be like that?
Yeah.
I want to be like that. Don't they say that to you?
They do. They like all the stuff that I've been through the last few years, my parents passing away, and then other situations that we've had. And then we lost a future son-in-law and he was killed. And yeah, and people are just like, how are you? And I don't want to be like, well, because I just trust God. I don't want to come off like that, but I want to be like, I trust God, and I've learned how to
let go, let God.
Yeah, that's so corny sounding, but it's so true.
It's not. So you're telling us divine trust can come from anywhere, and that Lizzie's not off base by not carrying all that weight for 3 weeks?
I mean, there's really 2 ways to live. It's either you trust or you don't. It's that simple. And when you don't trust, do you know how much you suffer, how bad that feels? Because there was probably a time in all of our lives where we didn't trust.
Yeah.
Where we went through, we powered through with our brain and our mind, not with this devotion or this knowledge that there's a force that's controlling us. And when you release up into it, everything just melts away. Everything's soothed. Any last shred of pain is just melted away. It just is smoothed by this force. And isn't that something you would like to be able to teach others? And so that's why I wrote the book. When I sat down to write that book, I had no idea. I'm like, I'm being told I'm supposed to write a book on it because I embody it. And now I'm like, how do I even begin it? Because it just happened. It happened slowly over time that my relationship with the source became so strong that I could see it. I could hear it. It told me things. It was always there. It was always warm, comforting, gentle, forgiving, giving. It was just all of that. And that's what I'm here to teach. I do think you could be helped by a guide teaching you, showing you. So in my book, I have actual very short processes that actually teach you how to get there yourself.
Okay,
I know you are there, Lizzie.
No, but still, that's a good reference for me to review this book. So that way I can be like, I talked to Dr. Nancy Wiley, and this is her experience, A, B, and C. And this is how you can move forward. So I love that you actually include that.
Tell me about the masterclass that you've got coming up this May.
Yes. So in that masterclass, I'm actually going to answer questions about the book. I'm going to divide it in 3 parts. So we have the first week it's a Zoom, it's an hour session. It's going to be about the first third of the chapter, the second, the middle, and then the third, the end. And I'm basically going to be there to coach people through it. It's free if they buy it. So if your listeners buy the book, they get 4 free gifts from me and from friends of mine. And they get this free master class. So
I was going to ask,
good free gifts come along.
I saw that. And I'm like, man, she's giving stuff away for free, boy. And I was like, but then I was
Lizzie was fascinated with your hands on fire and then butterflies coming out of your hands on the website.
I was like, that's awesome.
Wow, she got fire hands and fly. But look at the flies, little flutterbies.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
I'm just saying it happened. TrustTheDivine.com if you want to see the flutterbies yourself.
It's beautiful, actually.
DivineTrustBook.com. Also, private coaching, all just to help people find the trust that they need, and then trusting this divine power. I read something the other day about how less people are going to church now. Do you feel that you need to congregate to be in touch with your higher power?
So I was raised Catholic, and actually I never had the connection I have right now.
Thank you.
I went on. That was one of your talk shows that I was listening to. I thought, oh, that's so fascinating.
I was raised Southern Baptist.
I know you don't need that. I mean, when you can have such a direct relationship, I'll tell you what, priests that I tell about my relationship with, they're jealous.
Yeah.
They're thinking like, no, you need to get there through me. And I'm like, no, I need to get there myself.
Correct.
I want that one-on-one. And I think that's how every human being has a calling to see and to have that one-on-one relationship themselves.
Yes.
So basically, we should be the vessel, because I've never thought that I should be getting a message through some other person directly. Maybe
Correct.
just in an action or somebody that pops in and then pops out of your life, perhaps. But somebody just because they're wearing a collar, and I'm a Universal Life Church. I'm one of those that got ordained online. But I actually have always, been very spiritual. However, I do not like religion in the sense of how it is and how it's been to I guess, herd the people or the sheeple a lot of times, or to make even political decisions for the last few years, decades, what have you. I believe in meditation. Do you think that meditation is good? I believe you said something about that.
I've been meditating since I've been 17, so 43 years. And yes, that I'm sure thins the veil and helps you to see things and beyond what your human eyes see. It helps you see beyond that, hear beyond that. So you start listening with your non-human eyes and listening with your non-human ears and seeing with your non-human eyes.
Well, since we only have 2 minutes left, do you have like something quick that you can tell us, like where do we know to start with meditation? Because that's my thing. I've got like undiagnosed ADHD, and I'm sitting here in the room and I'm hearing things clatter. So can you give like an example of where we can start?
You can do it. Hyper-focus, girl.
Okay.
Yes, everybody can do it. They think it's not. They can't, but you can. You just have to give your mind a job to do. Like if you do a mantra, not so easy. But I say breathe. Watch your breath. Like breathe in and breathe out with your eyes closed. Just do that for a little while. And in my book, I have 8 audios, and some of those just do that for you. So you can close the book and do it directly. It's the way to do it. It's the way to get into the present moment. You have to be in the present moment to experience all these things I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You can't be in your mind in the past or in the future worried about what's happening. You have to be right here in the present moment.
That's good
and
stuff.
That's how I start. It's so simple.
If
you just get the book, the audios come with it, and you can just listen to me. I'll guide you through it. And it's so simple. And I'd love to hear how, your experience is with that.
Talking to Dr. Nancy Wiley. The book is available on Amazon.com for $12.99. You can also get the Kindle Divine Trust, a practical guide to end suffering and find your way home. Dr. Wiley, we hope that you'll be a guest with us again sometime soon. And folks, hope you learned something tonight as well. Dr. Wiley, thank you so much.
Thank you. Love your show.
Thank you.
Liz, it's time to say goodbye. You know the words.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Love you. Made it.
Laughing time is over.
There you have it, boys. Case closed.
You've been listening to Connections. Find tonight's show and replays of our past shows on connectionsshow.com.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. She went away.
Yep, she was like, goodbye.
All right. Oh, well.
I'll be back around. I'll come around.
All right, Dean.
Oh, I like that.
I will call it divine.
I'm through with standing in line.
Connections is relationship radio.
Well, this is fun.
Well, thank you. We try to make it fun. All right, stand by. Here we go.